There it is there. We'll just have to wait until it properly uploads to the channel. It's taking its time. There we go. So, the chat's up, the stream's up, we're all good to go, and it is raining. Oh, goody. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 9 of the Trans Nation eSports Americas Championship, the Sunday 9 p.m. Championship. It is time at the Red Bull Ring, 4.3 kilometer, 10 turn racetrack. It's one of the better racetracks on the calendar, tends to provide some pretty entertaining racing. Not the greatest driver's track, there's not a lot of technicality, only 10 turns to the place, but racing around here and qualifying tends to be quite competitive. Several overtaking points on the racetrack, most notably turns 1, 3 and 4. And there's some other parts of the racetrack that the drivers have to look out for as well, particularly the exit of turn 7, which just so happens to be the apex of turn 8, tends to be a hot spot for drivers getting warning. Same with the final 2 turns on the racetrack, turns 9 and 10, more specifically the exit of turn 9 and the exit of turn 10. Kind of hot spots for warnings as well, so that is definitely something that the drivers have to look out for during qualifying and in the race as well. Alongside me, as always, is Michael Garone Jr. Michael, thank you for joining me once again. Hopefully this stream goes a bit better than what it was last week at Circuit Paul Ricard. But are you looking forward to this one here at Austria?
Yeah, first of all, I got my fingers crossed that we don't have to go through what we went through last week.
Yeah, that was sure.
I'm going to stay optimistic on that one because that was stressful. But yeah, as you said, rain falling, intermediates out, and Buck goes for a nice little slide. And I think that's the game automatically resetting him.
I think so too. Well, there we go. We had our first accident, quote unquote, of the session. But yeah, Red Bull Ring, generally a pretty nice racetrack. You tend to get some fairly nice side-by-side action around here. What's your general overview of this short racetrack?
It's a good racetrack, as you said. You could pass here at a lot of different places and get real creative. Interesting feature about this track is you have three consecutive DRS straights. So I've seen a lot of what I like to call the yo-yo effect, where you'll get past somebody and then they'll get past you, and then you'll get past them, and they'll get past you again, all in one lap. So it tends to create that interesting dynamic, and you see a lot of passes being made. In terms of the track itself, as you said, it's not a driver's track. It's quite plain and simple. Not a ton of corners. Most of them are kind of lick this stamp and send it corners. So it's not my least favorite track, but it's not one that really stands out to me as like not a Spa or a Japan. It's not a track where you drive it and you're like, wow, this place is fun to drive.
Yeah, it's just a solid race track where you're sort of put to the test in regards to your limit comes out of it. It's when you're battling with people. Some drivers sometimes don't enjoy that though, particularly when the battles get a bit rough, which does happen from time to time here at Austria. But we got some times on the board. We got Mr. Joker at the top, Kyle Dyer in second. Currently intermediate conditions, and from the looks of things, it doesn't appear to be easing up. It's only very light intermediate conditions. It's not heavy rain just yet. Doesn't appear to be a great deal of moisture on the racetrack either. You can see from the cars, there's not a lot of spray coming off, so it might be drying out. I'm not 100% sure though. But well, I guess we better find something to chat about. Oh, of course, the Grand Prix that actually, the real life Grand Prix that happened. Did you happen to catch any of that, Michael? The Bahrain Grand Prix?
Yeah, I did watch start to finish.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was, I'm not gonna lie, I thought Max had it in the bag for most part of that race. It seemed like he had the leg up. And unfortunate for him to, yeah, he made the move, but just couldn't make it stick on track. So obviously had to give it back and didn't get another opportunity.
No.
But, it's a pretty good race. I'm intrigued by the midfield battle. I'm intrigued by the Red Bull versus Mercedes battle. And I don't know if it's going to be just a Bahrain thing, but the amount of pit stops they had to do really excites me, because more pit stops equals more interesting races with different strategies and a lot of different stuff going on. So, oh, there goes Matty. He's
crashed at turn 1.
Exit of 1.
We'll see here, Marybus is exiting the pits, and there he is there, pulled off to the side of the racetrack, hitting the white and blue barriers there on the outside. So Matthew won't be improving from 7th place, and there's a lot of drivers yet to set a lap time. But yes, it was an interesting Grand Prix at the front between Lewis and Max. Only 7/10 of a second in the end. Quite unfortunate that Max wasn't allowed to hold on to that position, but I understand he wasn't on the racetrack. He didn't overtake him on track, he overtook him off track. So it was either argue with the stewards and probably get a penalty, or fall back and try and get him again with the laps remaining. So, and unfortunately for Max, he couldn't re-overtake Lewis. But you mentioned the battle between Red Bull and Mercedes. Do you think it's a battle between Red Bull and Mercedes, or is it a battle between Max and Mercedes?
Well, so I didn't watch qualifying. So I don't know exactly why Perez was all the way back in 11th and didn't make it into Q3.
I think with both the Red Bulls and the Mercedes were qualifying on the medium tyre in Q2. And Max and the two Mercedes got in qualifying on the mediums. Perez was also on the medium compound, and he was 3/10 off Max at the end of Q2, and as a result he was 11th fastest at the end of the session. So he had to start from P11, which turned out he wasn't even starting there anyway. Some sort of engine trouble on the formation lap, which didn't help him at all. Had to start in the pit lane and ended up finishing 5th, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think based off of that performance, I think Perez will be able to do more. That
if he had the track position,
he'll be able to do the
initially.
Stuff. Yeah, he'll be able to do the things and put in the performances that Red Bull wanted out of Albon and Gasly. Obviously, those two didn't live up to that, but I don't think Perez is going to start winning a ton of races and outpacing everybody. But I think he's going to be that solid number 2 driver that Red Bull have been looking for. It seems like he's not fully comfortable with the car. I've heard that, especially in his quali pace, it takes him a few laps to really get the car under him, which I think will come in time as he puts laps in that car. But yeah, I think when Mercedes has a bad day, he'll be able to take one of those Mercedes cars. And I think he'll be a good wingman to Max. He might not want that, but I think that's what might end up happening.
Now, who do you think was the most disappointing driver from that weekend, do you think, from Bahrain?
Well, as a fan of him, I'd have to say Seb.
It wasn't a great performance from the 4-time champ, was it?
No. Weird strategy where everybody else was doing 2 or 3 stops and they wanted to do 1 stop. So it left him kind of vulnerable for a lot of that race. I don't even think the qualifying can be blamed on him because he got held up on one of his laps. But yeah, and then to top it off, he kind of just ran right into the back of Ocon.
Yeah, that was a great.
And then
that didn't look
tried
great.
to blame Ocon.
Well, it
So
looked like an incredibly similar incident between him and Max at Silverstone in 2019.
yeah,
Was that when that happened?
yeah, 18 I think that
Was it
was.
18 or 19? I can't remember. I think it was 19 because Leclerc was in the Ferrari as well. I think it was
Yeah,
19
yeah, you're right. It was 19.
because Max and Leclerc were battling, and then Leclerc got in front, I think, and Seb tried to do the same thing or tried to keep Max at bay, and didn't quite work out for poor old Seb.
Yeah, actually, no. I changed my answer to that. Nikita Mazepin. I mean, that
Oh,
whole weekend, I look at that and I just want to ask what he was doing. I mean,
okay.
the
So
guy
a
ruined
lot of
like
people
four or
seem
five
to be
people's Q1.
a lot of people seem to be bullying him right now, which is interesting to me because I understand that the Formula One community is kind of toxic. But okay, he had a brake-by-wire issue in qualifying. That was the reason why he spun out at turn one. That was explained by Haas and by Nikita post-race, oh, post-quali. Now, his spin at turn one. Do you remember he's a rookie? Okay, this is his first season in F1, and Mick did the same thing at turn four. So it's not like Nikita
Yeah,
just is the only driver who magically spun out because he's quote-unquote trash. Like, I get it. He did some stupid shit in social media. He's come up and apologized about that. And really, what else can you do? You could build a time machine, go back in time and fix what you've done. No, you sort of just own up to it and you move on. And I
yeah.
get he's come into the team. He's effectively bought out the team as well. But Haas need him. They need him. Without Mazepin, there is no Haas F1 team. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah.
Gene's gonna pull out at some stage. He's had enough. He doesn't want his brand looking like a complete joke. So Mazepin is their saving grace. Now, yes, it wasn't a great performance, but hey, it's the first race of a 20-odd race season. Give the kid a break.
I understand why he's there. I don't necessarily agree with it because I don't think he's the best option.
He was the only option, really.
But well, yeah, in terms of their future, yes. But I'm saying in terms of driving potential, obviously, there's better guys out there.
Absolutely, but
yeah, I think he's gonna improve. I know that he. What else did he do that everybody else? Oh, that's what it was. He was overtaking cars on the outlap. At the end of the outlap,
to, apparently, by
right, and he was told
engineer.
to, and he didn't know any better, and didn't know that that's something that is like an unwritten rule of code that you don't.
It doesn't matter. You do what your engineer tells you to.
Right.
You don't ignore your race engineer. You know. Like, the race engineer is supposed to be the level-headed guy in that scenario. You know, because as a racing driver, you're so pumped up for all of adrenaline, you can't think straight 9 times out of 10. So when the engineer tells you to do something, you do it. And as a result, he overtook cars at the end of Q1, had the issue at turn 1, and as a result brought out the yellow flags. It's not necessarily his fault. I mean, yes, he's young. He could have argued when he had more experience, but in the end, you do what your race engineer tells you to. So.
Yeah, I mean, as an American F1 fan, I hope that they could get things together with both of their drivers. It seems like both of them are struggling quite a bit, and I think a lot of that goes down to the fact that car is pretty undrivable.
Yeah, it seemed that also
you
Nick
look at
has
that
some
thing and it
troubles with
seems
the car
devilish.
as well.
Yeah,
So,
it does not seem happy on a racetrack, which that's always a bad start when the car doesn't
absolutely.
agree with anything you do to it.
You know, as a driver, you're designed to push as hard as you can, and if you can't do that, then your time in the car is just sort of impossible, really. So I do feel sorry for both drivers. They seemingly have to put up with a fairly average car or below average car. But that's the scenario that Haas is in right now. They have to sort of forget 2021 and wholly and solely focus on 2022. They really don't have any other option at the moment. Well, we talked about real life Formula One. We'll probably get back to it at some point if the race becomes boring again. But we're coming towards the pointy end of qualifying. Mystic Joker is currently at the top of the table with a 1 minute at 11.171. He is 1/10 clear of KD, who just improves by 1/10 of a second in the first sector. He's coming out of turn 3, heading towards the heavy braking zone of 4. You can see it's still raining, not a great deal of spray coming off the car either, so the conditions, I think, haven't worsened, but they haven't become better either. But I guess we'll see with KD how much improvement he can find across the course of this second sector. A few corners you have to deal with around turn 6, down the short straightaway towards turn 7, and he's up by 1/10 and a half. So at the moment he's looking like he might take pole position away from Mystic Joker as Kaz retires on track at the exit of turn 1. He didn't crash out, he just voluntarily retired there. KD will round the final turn, turn 10. He'll come up to the line and set a 1 minute 11.133. So he does take pole, but only just. Now, Ethan Lossing, what the Racing Point can do. Currently the top driver out of the full-timers. I think the next full-time driver is Justin Laprade in 8th, if I'm not mistaken. I think it is. Anyway, currently Ethan's done a pretty nice lap time of a 1 minute 11.8. He needs to improve by 4/10 if he wants to take and he's done that in the second sector. Now he just needs to nail this final sector here. He rounds turn 8, heading towards the final 2 turns on the racetrack, turns 9 and 10. 6th gear, gently on the throttle, right up against the white line there. Round turn 10, the final turn, up through the gears. He will cross the line to set a 1 minute 11.2. That's a pretty good lap right at the end.
Very close as well.
And I think he might be trying to set another one here. I don't think he's done yet. We'll have a look. What does his sector 1 say? Up by 6,000, so Ethan's not done yet. KD's session is over. He's invalidated. And he's low on fuel as well, so actually in low fuel mode, I should say. So his session is done. Mystic Joker on an outlap, ready to set his final flying lap. This man has been dominating throughout the session. He's been at the top for almost all of it until KD set that 1 minute 11.133. See what the McLaren can do. Around turn 1, 3rd gear, gently on the throttle.
Almost 2/10 through the first 2 sectors.
See what Ethan can do here. Sebi's retired from the session. So Ethan will round the final 2 turns. How much of an improvement can he find? He'll come up to the line to set a 1:11 flat, takes pole position. Does anybody have any response to this? I think Mystic Joker would probably be the only one. Let's see what Work can do, though. He's up by 2 3/4 of a second. He jumps to P2 with a 1 minute 11.040. 14 thousandths off Ethan. This is close qualifying here in these wet conditions as well, which is quite surprising. But Joker needs to nail this final sector. He's got a Red Bull in front of him. It's J-Dunk. He gets out of the way. Round the final turn. Invalidates! Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's how brutal the racetrack is. I said that turns 9 and 10. Places you have to look out for in the race and in qualifying. And there we go. Turn 10 just bared its teeth there to Mystic Joker. He misses out on the opportunity to fight for pole position. He will start from 4th. But it's Ethan Lossing on pole. Only just though, 14 thousandths of a second between the top 2. Very close indeed. Perfect demonstration of how close it is in qualifying around here at Austria. Then it's KD in third, Joker in fourth, J Dunk in fifth. Then we got PJB in sixth, Buck in seventh, Justin LaPrade in P8, Garrett DePippo in P9, and Brian Beal with the new name Tierney Yoda starting in 10th place. 1.8 seconds effectively separating the top 10. Then we got Dion, Chris Murphy, Sebastian Flores, Kaz, Mary Bus in P15, Willy Wonka in P16, Matthew Earlier. Big crash early on. As a result, he would start from 17th place, and a reserve driver in the form of Andrew Honda, last season's champion, didn't bother setting a time. He was starting from 18th on the grid. Deary me. I'm already starting to lose my voice. Dear oh dear. Now, time for the race itself here at Austria. And it is clear. Nice, clear weather. Not a cloud in the sky. So, what's the strategy around here? Considering what's just happened in qualifying, what would you do?
I think if I'm at the front of the field, I'm going to start on the softs, go about 13, 14 laps, go to the mediums, and then, go to the end. If you're somebody who is outside of, if you're Matt or somebody towards the back half of the field, you feel like your dry pace is a little bit better, I'd maybe start on the mediums, do an alternate. I think you want to avoid the hards today because you could do a soft medium or medium soft in either whatever sequence you'd like to do. So
interesting, because I know the hard tire isn't too bad around here. I've done several races around here at Austria, and if there's an early safety car, I wouldn't be too surprised if we see some drivers pit for hard tires, because they can go the distance and they're not a million miles off the pace of medium or soft tires. Just off my own personal experience driving these cars and racing against other people in these cars. And you do have to be sometimes a bit careful when you pit onto the medium tire as well, that you don't force yourself to do too many laps on them, as Ethan does a slide there at turn 1, because I've seen several drivers puncture around here as well. So we'll go through the order, see who's on what, and everyone's on soft or mediums. We've got Ethan Lossing on pole on soft tyres, then light work on mediums, KD, Carl Dyer on mediums as well in P3, Mystic Joker. So both McLarens on differing strategies. He's starting on the softs, same with J Dunk in 5th. PJB on a set of mediums in P6, Buck in P7 on a set of softs, so the two Haas's on alternate strategies. Justin LaPrade in P8 on softs, same with Garrett DePippo in 9th. Brian Beal on a set of mediums in P10. Dion on softs, same with Chris Murphy in P12. Sebastian Flores starting in 13th place on a set of mediums, same with Kaz in 14th. Then we've got Josh Bell in 15th place on a set of softs. Willy Wonka, Byron Will starting in 16th on a set of mediums, so they'll be pretty cold, I imagine. Matthew Elliott in P17, he's on a set of mediums as well. And Andrew Honda at the back of the field in 18th place, also on a set of mediums. So, fairly nice split in the field. What's that? 1, 5, 6, 7, 9 cars on the mediums. That means 9 cars on the soft as well. So, fairly even split. In terms of strategy, it'll be very interesting to watch indeed. But everyone's lined up. We're all ready to race here at Austria. Game is saving. We're on the grid. The lights are turning on. We have 4 lights, 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go here at the Red Bull Ring. And that's a great conversion from the McLaren of light work. He will try and challenge into turn 1, but unfortunately for him, it is Ethan Lossing who leads the field round turn 1. The midfield gets through the opening corner fairly nicely. See the leaders all just following each other in this nice train. Carl Dyer down the inside into turn 3. He's into P2. One of the Haas's running wide. That is Buck running wide there. Potentially losing a couple of... Oh dear! Falling to the back of the field, having some sort of incident, bringing out a brief yellow flag there. The lead is coming around the second sector. So critically for Ethan, he didn't lose position to a medium runner. If he did, that's just a bit of an annoyance, really. He doesn't have to clear air to pull away, but he does now. KD, he's got Mr. Joker all over the back of him, coming into turn 9. Can't find a way past here, though he might have a look into turn 1. Let's have a look. Comes out to the final corner. He uses overtake 6 in the slipstream. Turns off overtake. He'll stay behind the Mercedes-Benz, it seems. Coming through turn 1 here. Uses as much of the curb as he can, trying not to get a warning. Typical lap 2 glitch, and here we go. He powers past, utilizing the power of ERS, though Carl does have the inside line but doesn't fight it. So into second place goes Mystic Joker, just with the lap 2 glitch. Matthew jumps up to first place for whatever reason. But there we go. So not a bad scrap between those two. Garrett finds himself in P4. How on earth has he done that? Up 5 positions. That is a tremendous start for the Ferrari driver. He's got J-Dunk all over the back of him. Unfortunately for light work, it's quite a shocking start. Down 4 positions from 2nd to 6th. Let's see here. PJB down 3 positions. Dion up 1. Up 6 positions is Andrew Honda. Quite a typical performance at the start of the race from him. Shown exceptional speed. Already up 6 positions. Sector 3 yellow flags. That is Sebastian. He's spun out. Any wing damage on that Williams? No. But that's going to be some work he has to do to try and catch up to the cars in front. Because as you mentioned, Michael, it's basically a DRS train that forms with these guys. So they're just going to be constantly pulling away from Sebastian. So basically for Sebi, he needs a safety car in order to bring himself back into it. So, and plenty of penalties. 5, in fact, 5 different drivers being dished out. Only 3 laps into a 36 lap race. It's not painting a great picture, does it? But the leaders coming over the crest towards turn 9 and then into turn 10. Comes out onto the pit straight. As Mr. Joker sitting in the slipstream. Can't go for a move just yet, though. I think he's going to go for it at turn 3. Let's have a look as Garrett gets a 3-second time penalty. You can see he's closing and closing. They go around the left-hand kink of turn 2 towards 3. Doesn't go for the move. I think he could have gone for that. Let's have a look. I think you're right. Yeah. So Joker just being patient, I guess. Though this might not work for the McLaren. Ethan's putting up a fight. See here, they're going to go into turn 6 side by side. Ethan still has a nose there, but he relinquishes the lead. Falls back to 2nd place. But yeah, you can see there, Joker just not allowing Ethan to get DRS heading towards turn 4 to try and counter-attack. But, oh, and Ethan's lost a fair amount of time. He's out of DRS range now. 1.2 seconds behind the race leader. I don't know how he did that, but yeah, must have made a mistake at turn 9 or turn 10, and as a result, falls out of DRS range. Kyle looks pretty strong too in P3 on these medium tyres. He might be on course to take overall victory here. Looking in the background, we've got these guys battling in the midfield. See, this is the trouble with Austria. You don't really know where to look because you've got all these groups sort of forming. And anything can happen in one of these groups. You sort of have to be a bit lucky as a commentator that you pick up on the right stuff. Oh, Buck almost goes into the back of Leprode, coming around turn 6 into 7. In the background, see this other group here. with Honda, who's now into 9th place. He is flying at the moment. Got Dion and PJB King just in behind. Yeah, some nice battles going on and some DRS trains forming, quite a typical sight. See if Justin goes for a move here. He's using overtake and DRS, sitting right in the slipstream. Light work defends the inside line, tries to anyway. In the end, he just gives up the position, doesn't put up too much of a fight, rather understandably so. Light work, can he do anything here using DRS, using overtake? Will he try and attack here into turn 4? He might. Oh, he thought about it. He definitely thought about it. Almost hits Justin there at the apex of turn 4. Justin very wide at turn 5, dear me, and missing the apex at turn 6. As a result, the McLaren of Lightwork is now right on the gearbox of the... Oh, and a twitch! A bit of a twitch there. He touched the inside curb at turn 7. Unsettled the car. He had to correct it. He overcorrected it just a little bit. That could have been quite a nasty incident, but fortunately he maintains 7th place for now. And now Honda's caught onto the back of this train, so it's now a 4-way fight for 6th place. And here comes Honda. A fantastic run out of turn 1. And he just leaves him standing. What on earth? That's... Oh my goodness gracious me. It's almost as if he's in a completely other car. Just powered past with absolutely no trouble. That's ridiculous. Round turn 4. Justin round the outside. Him and Lightworker side by side. Justin. Ooh. That was a bit laggy there from Justin. He almost went straight back into the front wing of Honda there. Round turn... turn 7 into turn 8. Justin has a shocking run, and as a result, Honda just slingshots by with absolutely no trouble. Ooh, though he sort of overshoots it at turn 9. Almost runs off the road there. Light work on the grass there, dearie me. A lot going on. Round turn 1, J-Dunk, a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. KD is attacking here into turn 3. Down the inside, they're side by side. Plenty of respect here. Now, who has DRS? It's KD. So he'll try and pull away. Though Ethan, I'm sure, is not going to just give up. He'll sit in behind. Try and use DRS on the following lap. Maybe give KD a taste of his own medicine. Though, the Mercedes is starting to just eke away. Just ever so slightly. But, yes, a lot of battles going on. Up and down the field. But,
Buck and Justin going at it quite a bit still.
They're coming through turn 10 now. See what Buck can do. Both cars have DRS. Looking down the inside into turn 1 goes Buck. Though he can't really make it stick. Justin very committed on the outside line. Keeps P8, though Buck is not giving up here. They're going to go through turn 2 side by side. Now Justin has the inside, though he slots back in behind the Haas. Goes back down to P9. So, oh, is that Sebi? He's made a mistake at turn 1.
I think that is Seb. And again, no damage.
Now he's got even more work to do. Poor fella. He really does need a safety car in order to bring himself back into it, I think. He will have too much work to do to try and claw back onto the back of the field. But we're noticing that the medium runners are now starting to really give the soft runners a bit of a hurry up. Are the soft tyres starting to turn off now, do you think, Michael? After about 10 laps?
Yeah, I think at about this time you're going to start feeling those things falling away from you a little bit. The medium's still going to feel really good. You're not going to really feel much of a difference in the grip on the mediums. The softs, though, yeah. You're going to see a lot of these traction, have trouble with getting the thing stopped for those large braking zones. So, yeah, not a surprise to me that these mediums are coming into their own.
So when's the pit window, do you think, roughly, as J-Dunk makes a move for 4th place on Garrett?
I think, I'm going to hold. Honda just drives right around Garrett right there.
Yeah, no trouble at all. Like I said, he's in a different class right now compared to everyone else, it seems.
I think lap 14 or 15 is when you want to pit onto the mediums. I mean, you could probably pit right now and go to the end on hards if you'd like to take that undercut opportunity. I know the undercut will work here pretty well, so I don't know if anybody, doesn't look like anybody's too keen on it right now, but I think the opportunity is there. I think Honda's going to line up another move.
As Ethan gets by Kyle for 2nd place with relative ease, and round the outside, Andrew, I don't know if he can make that work. He's got traction, doesn't have the straight line speed, it seems, of the Red Bull, though he's attacking here, looking around the long way. Oh, a bit tight. Oh, 2 touches there. But Honda gets through into 4th place. He's now 4 seconds behind KD, who you must think is going to be his main rival in this race. They're both on the same strategy. To think that Honda started from 18th, is now in 4th, and we've just hit the 1/3 mark in this race. That is
and to think
actually ridiculous.
Yeah. To think he was a full-time driver in this division last season.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy.
Soft tyres for light work going on to the McLaren. He is doing a 2-stop, it seems. Is that even a strategy around here at Red Bull Ring? The 2-stop?
I haven't really seen it done. This might work. I've never really seen anybody do it. It might work, I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out about that one.
I mean, if it works, he probably needs a bit of luck to go his way, I reckon. Oh dear, that's Sebastian again, isn't it? Oh, and this time he's been... What are you talking about, game? He's on the grass. He's not blocking the pit lane. What are you talking about? Go home, Codemasters, you're drunk. That is honestly the most ridiculous disqualification I have
That's 2 weeks
ever
in
seen.
a row for Seb. He's been disqualified trying to get it back on the track.
That is actually dumb. Blocking the pit lane entry. What rubbish that is. Oh my goodness me. I pray that with EA purchasing Codemasters, they can rectify some of these ridiculous issues that we've come across in the past 2 games. I mean, 2020 wasn't great. Neither was F1 2019. It had its bugs here and there. Particularly with the lobby glitches that we had to put up with in that game. That was shocking. This, oh dear, that is actually stupid. Oh dear, and Chris Murphy has spun out and crashed. And a safety car. Oh, there he is. That's a big impact. So, Joker in, Ethan Lossing in. Yeah, you're not missing out on this opportunity. You're pitting. But onto what? Well, KD and Honda are sort of forced onto the onto the hard tire, aren't they? Mediums?
Yeah, if you're anybody on the mediums.
And what about Ethan?
You'd have to put on the hards.
Mediums as well. Well, we will be doing a few laps on the safety car, won't we? So that reduces the amount of wear that these medium tyres will have to put up with. Dunk is in. Set of softs. He's doing a 2-stop. Dunk, I think. Yeah, he would have to be. Those softs won't make it. Garrett onto hards. Light work. He's now in 7th place on soft tyres. So these tyres will be considerably quicker, I imagine, than the hard runners. So they're planning to try and overtake these guys and try and build up a gap.
Brian Beal on softs.
Oh, he is in P10.
Matt has pit for another set of mediums.
Did he start on those?
He did start on the mediums, so he's gonna have to pit again. Byron Will on the softs. PJB King Patrick, he's on the hard.
Well, I'm just noticing now there are clouds coming. Is there a weather report in the comments section? I haven't really been paying attention. Because that is one thing that might shape things just slightly differently, which is why we're seeing drivers doing a two-stop, is that it might rain. Because there are, like, it was clear skies at the start of this. We're 14 laps in, and there's clouds. You can see them all around the racetrack, particularly those dark grey ones there at the exit of turn 9. Coming around onto the pit straight, you can see him there. So I just wonder if we might see some wet weather conditions, maybe. That might explain why people are going on such awkward strategies. But if that's the case, why are KD and Honda on hard tyres then? Because if there was rain coming, they would go onto the softs, you would think.
Yeah, this whole situation's giving me mixed thoughts because, yeah, like you said, I don't know, just the fact that Matt specifically and some of these guys on the softs haven't just pit onto the tire that'll get them to the end. Yeah, it's a little bit weird.
And it's not like Matthew's gone back into the pits to try and fix this either. I think they've done a lap, so I think Matthew's committing to something. Two-stop strategy, whether it's onto a set of soft tyres or perhaps a set of inters, because it is getting darker here. There are clouds are coming, so I don't know what's going to happen. This is fascinating, because weather conditions, I have absolutely no idea. It's got all these different strategies just everywhere. We've got two guys on the mediums at the front, two guys on hards just behind, and there's a Red Bull on a set of softs who's going to send it, I imagine. But here we go. On lap 15, Mr. Joker will set off. He will round the final corner, and we go back under green flag racing here at the Red Bull Ring. He's already built up an 8/10 margin over Ethan Lossing. KD is just in behind in third, Honda in fourth. As a few penalties popped up then, they're going to play a crucial role at the end of the race in terms of dictating the results. Round turn 3, J-Dunk trying to get by. Excuse me. Towards turn 4, can't find a way past just yet. It's going to be difficult for the Red Bull to try and get past. The dirty air will be affecting him just a little bit.
So I'm getting the report of rain in 10 minutes.
Oh. Well, there we go. So why is it that KD and Honda have gone onto hard tyres? If that's the case. Well, 10 minutes around here is 10 laps, so we're expecting about lap 26 at the very least, so... Okay. That explains why Matthew in 12th has elected to go on to another set of mediums, and why some of these guys are committing to a two-stop. Because they're thinking that the rain's coming, they're going to go onto intermediate tyres and go to the end. And I guess with KD and Honda, they're thinking the opposite. As Dunk tries to force the issue down the inside of turn 3, they're thinking the rain's coming, but perhaps it might not get heavy enough to sort of constitute intermediate conditions. And as a result, they have to go to the end on the... Oh! As J-Dunk goes into the back of KD there at turn 4. KD, he wouldn't find that too impressive there. Dunk absolutely missing everything there at turn 4. Honda falling behind KD just a little bit. He's got light work over the back of him here. Coming around turn 7, then turn 8. Can't find a way past here at turns 9 and 10. There's really no way to overtake through here. So I guess, yeah, with KD and with Honda, they're thinking, right, it might rain, but it might not turn into inters. So they're just making sure they can get to the end and make sure they tick the boxes in regard to the two tire compound requirement. So
if that's the case, the hard tire is like the last tire you want to be on in those kind of conditions.
Yeah.
So even then, I mean,
you want to be on the softs.
They had to pit for the hards.
You always want to be on the softs.
Yeah, but they couldn't pit for another set of mediums to make it to the end. So, I mean, this was really their only option to clear their mandatory pit stop. I think. Oh, there goes Dunk.
Oh no, he's out.
Got too much curve
that's a big shunt there.
And this should be. We get a VSC for it. I was gonna say that's quite close to the racing line.
What's going on here? It seems that Matthew Elliott and Byron Will. Here we go. Have we got the overtake glitch? Yes, we do, ladies and gentlemen. Say hello to the overtake glitch. So, because Byron Will overtook Matthew, creating a ginormous mess. What is this? Now watch, I bet Matthew will get an overtake penalty. Just keep an eye out. I reckon he will. For overtaking under yellow flag conditions. Actually, he won't. Sometimes when you overtake a car, going under virtual safety car conditions, you can get an overtake glitch. Lightwork comes out of the pits on fresh rubber, down in 13th place. Interesting call here from Lightwork. Just lost a whole heap of track position by pitting here, but he's on significantly fresher tyres. Although they did 3 laps on the safety car.
I don't know why you pit there.
Did he have wing damage? Could you check in the menu?
Yeah, I could check real quick.
Thank you. He might have had damage, which would explain it. Down the inside goes Bar.
No.
So that was his choice.
Change of tire. Yeah, so that's...
I mean, I get taking advantage of virtual safety cars, but he's lost so much track position by doing so, so I'm not sure if that's worth it.
I mean, it's getting really, really dark out there, and I think, there it is.
Hang on, I need a better halo to try and see this. There we go, the Williams halo will do. See the raindrops? They are coming, so seems that KD and Honda have made a pretty poor call here, going onto the hard tyre, it seems. Because they've missed out on the opportunity to fight with Ethan and Mystic Joker at the front of the field, because those hard tyres just quite simply aren't as quick as the mediums right now. They will be after about, I don't know, 15 or so laps. But they're definitely not going to be going that long before it turns into proper intermediate conditions, so... Oh dear. Yeah, it seems that KD and Honda have sort of blown it a little bit. Brian Beale on those soft compound tyres. He's the highest placed driver on those softs now, in 7th. He'd be feeling pretty pleased about the idea that it's raining now. So you'll have the most ideal tyre for the conditions. Hopefully he'll be able to push and make up a few positions. Right now he's got the Haas of Buck and the Ferrari of Garrett DePippo to try and get past. Oh, and he overshoots turn 3 just a little bit. Matthew Elliott, I believe, has just overtaken someone, if I'm not mistaken, or was that Lightwork getting past PJB King there? Oh dear. In the background,
it's getting pretty wet. I think it's almost time to change.
Well, as you can see there, yeah, I think you're right. Oh, there we go. Oh, and into the wall goes Byron Will as soon as DRS was disabled. So here we go. We're under intermediate conditions now. Into the pits goes Joker. Ethan will follow. Same with KD and Honda. They will all pit. And they're all in different teams as well. Oh, and a spinning McLaren.
Goes for a big spin. That's right in front. It was right in front of Matt.
he has to be very careful. Doesn't get disqualified. There he goes. But yes, intermediate tyres, they're chucking him on. That has blown my mind. Why did they bother pitting for hard tyres? KD and Honda? That makes no sense to me. No sense at all. So, now we've got a different complexion of this race with... as Lightwork has elected to retire in the pit lane. That is our 4th retirement of the race. Rather, 3rd retirement, along with 1 disqualification. A rubbish disqualification, but a disqualification nonetheless. And look at how much time Joker has pulled out on Ethan already. 5.6 seconds. It appears that Ethan might be struggling a little bit adjusting to the intermediate conditions on track right now. A bit sideways there, not too sideways, but a little bit. So was KD. But Byron Will on those soft tyres, he's going to be having a great time on these tyres. I don't know what... Oh, and Matthew spun.
Oh, and that's... Yep. Matt's dropped it.
And he's got wind damage.
Going off. Yeah.
Ah. So he'll be going into the pits to get that replaced. Now, we had intermediate conditions in qualifying, so I wonder if he has any fresh... Well, he did crash out in qualifying, didn't he? He only did 1 lap and then had that incident at turn 1, so he should have another set of inters. I think they have 3 sets of inters and 2 sets of full wet tyres. Into the pits goes Byron Will as well. Off those soft compound tyres, he'll get a front wing change. KD trying to apply pressure. Now with the adjusted standings, if I'm not mistaken, it is Ethan Lossing, then Garrett to Pippo, then Bryant Beale, if I'm not mistaken. That's the top 3?
No, it'd be Ethan from Buck.
Is Buck a full-time driver with Haas, is he?
Yeah, Buck
I see.
Full-time.
I thought he was a reserve driver. That's my bad.
Yeah, no, he's staring down the barrel of a
second place finish.
Yeah.
And then we got Garrett in P3. He'd be pretty chuffed with himself as well. Then Brian Beale in P4. Dion in P5. Josh Bell in P6. Then it's Justin LaProix, 7th. Is PJB a reserve driver for Haas?
Yes, it's 7th for Justin.
And then 8th for Byron Will. And then 9th for Matthew earlier. So yeah, currently 5 reserve drivers tossing it up in the 14 cars remaining in in the race. And it looks like we're going to have a 3-way fight here for 2nd overall. Both Ethan and KD have penalties. Andrew doesn't. He's sitting behind both of these guys. There's a Red Bull just in front. That must be Matthew. He'll get out of the way shortly once Ethan, Kyle and Andrew catch up to him. But no DRS available for Kyle and Andrew. They have to overtake the old-fashioned way, sitting in the slipstream and doing the big send down one of the many overtaking opportunities here on the racetrack. I think that's one of the better things about Austria. There we go. Andrew gets a 3-second time penalty. Is that even in intermediate conditions, you still have opportunities available to you to try and get by, because the braking zones are that deep that if you're close enough, you can still make the move stick. As that's just Matthew bringing out a brief yellow flag there for getting out of the way. Seems that PJB King is also battling Merrybus here. He is 2.5 tenths behind. Is he brave enough? No. Although he's going to try around the outside. Josh Bell too complacent there on the brakes, and as a result, one of the most unorthodox overtakes you'll ever see. That was completely unintentional from PJB King. He was just on the racing line. He was just going to take turn 10, as you do, you know. But Meribus, just way too complacent on the brakes there at turn 3. PJB just drove round him. Just drove round him. That's all he did. He'll say it was intentional. He thought it out. Oh yeah, I knew I was going to overtake him around the outside. You know, as any race driver would. I'll definitely claim it. That's what I would do. I'd say, yeah, I 100% thought this out. I knew he was going to...
That was calculated.
It was 100% calculated. I brought out my inner Alain Prost and I calculated my way past this guy with absolute precision and accuracy. Because I'm a racing driver and that's what I do. But no... Did not see that overtake coming, but it was a good one nonetheless. Though, hang on. Josh isn't done with this. And hello, Justin Leprode. He's in this as well. It's 3 wide. You're joking. Round turn 3. And does Meribus come out on top in all this? He does. And PJB falls back to 11th. Oh dear.
As soon as I saw that, I knew that wasn't going to end well. And
for at least someone. At least someone,
yeah,
and it turns out to be
Patrick
PJB.
kind of got the short end of that deal.
And he's actually run wide at turn 4, and as a result, he's fallen a bit further behind Justin. But okay, so Josh, he's saying, well, have at it you for that overtake. Retakes 9th, and now Justin's getting involved in this as well. Yeah, showing that the Red Bull Ring is a fairly good racetrack. When you see this sort of battling in the wet, don't often see too much battling in the wet because a lot of drivers sort of go into what I like to call self-preservation mode. They don't want to make any mistakes because it's that easy to make one and then take yourself out of the race. So a lot of drivers don't push too hard. But here at Austria, because there are obvious and plentiful overtaking opportunities, they're still willing to go for them, as Justin's overtaking Meribus at turn 3. Though Josh is not done with him just yet. They're going to go side by side down the back straight away, in quotation marks. And Josh gets out in front, though I think Justin will try a switchback here. He'll have the inside for turn 5, but the outside for turn 6. Here we go. Tries another switchback maybe? No, not quite. Couldn't really turn into the apex there, Justin. He really struggled to turn in for the apex there at turn 6. Around turn 8, and there's Patrick just in behind, and off the circuit is Dion. He's in the wall.
That's Dion, he's way off.
There he is there. Ooh, dear. Ghosting's turned off, remember? And there's a nice little sponsor plug there for DP World, that bit of front wing that was stuck to the halo. That was very nice there. From the front wing. And away it goes. In 11th place, he's effectively lost 2 positions to Josh Bell and Justin Leprode. But he's lost 3 overall.
He's gonna lose more because he's got to do a whole lap with that damage.
Yeah. And then get it replaced. So, yeah, it's not looking great for Dion at all. Obviously, Cameron must still be recovering from his hand injury or issue that he has. Still not here for tonight's race at Red Bull Ring, which is quite unfortunate, really. Up the hill, you have these 3 battling for outright second place. Now, have 3 seconds apiece, so they're all genuinely battling for position. So these guys are going to give each other a lot of trouble, I imagine, battling for position. Meanwhile, Mr. Joker just doing his own thing, leading the way, commanding the race with a healthy 6.4 second lead. As PJB gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Why is he going in?
I think it stopped raining. Yeah,
right.
He's gonna pit for softs.
Oh, This race isn't over. Nice Minecraft villager impression as well. I think that was spot on. That Because you're right, it is a situation because You could pit for softs and it might pay massive dividends. I don't think any of the leading
Dion's
cars
put the
will.
wets on.
Oh,
And he's just...
Hey, oh, I'm out. Alright, everybody, I'm out of here. See you later. Wet tires, let's go.
I think he was trying to scramble his way into a dry compound of some sorts, and he went the wrong way, maybe, or I don't know.
But why not? Take a gamble, go onto a slick tire, see what you get. If you don't get anything, well, that's alright. You know, you took a gamble. Not all gambles pay off.
I was Matt or Byron Will, full timer towards the end of the field. You know you're gonna score points.
Might as well just send it.
Yeah.
Send it.
See what happens.
Oh, hello. LePraud's in. Same with Josh Bell.
Ooh.
Oh, and Kaz. This must be
in.
a strategic call, I think, from Jeff, from their race engineer. Because you don't often see 3 cars just pit one after the other. And I think someone else is coming in as well. Yes, it's Byron Will. He's in.
Byron Will.
Well, we saw when the rain came, it changed very quickly to wet conditions. So I wonder...
And Matt's going to stay out.
If it's going to...
Matt doesn't feel it's ready.
Either that or he's taking a gamble to try and get an extra place. Though he's going to be a sitting duck compared to Byron. Into the pits goes Brian Beale. He's in. So this must be a call from Jeff. Surely. Keep an eye on the bottom left as well, ladies and gentlemen, because we might just see DRS enabled. When we see that, that is the definite call for slick conditions. Right, we've got an extra twist in the tail here at the Red Bull Ring. And we have a battle for second here that might just intensify. Oh, and Joker stays out! He stays out! On those intermediate tyres. How much time is he going to lose by doing that, I wonder?
He's going to lose a ton of time. A huge amount of... Even
his teammates retired, so it's not like it was going to be a double stack scenario, which is why he stayed out.
Yeah,
but, no, onto slick, soft, compound tyres goes P2, 3 and 4. And they're going to be light years quicker than our current race leader. Now, let's
Joker
say...
is struggling.
Like, Joker can't get to the end of the race because, although we don't have too many laps left, those tyres will be burning up significantly. Melt. So, he can't get to the end on those. There's no way. Honda forcing the issue on Kyle here. Out of turn 3. Can't get by into turn 4 though. Into the pits goes Joker. Marybus on those soft compound tyres. Still going. Gap is closing up quite a bit. Now he had a 7-second margin. How big is it going to be? I think he will come out in front.
Yeah, the short lap time around here kind of saved him.
He's exiting the pit lane now. He's lost about 4 seconds over the course of the lap. So he was able to go 1 lap longer, but that could have spelled disaster if he made a mistake. Fortunately, he didn't. As Honda down the inside of turn 3, Kyle gets the switch back. Going onto the back straightaway, he'll get DRS as well, using overtake. He'll slingshot back past the Williams. The battle for third is on between Andrew Honda and Kyle Dyer. Round turn 4, then turn 5. Honda, he won't be able to find a way past here. Just shows the nose, just tells Kyle, I'm right here, bud. Make a mistake and I'll have you. And with these two battling so hard, Ethan's starting to pull away. In fact, he's closed in a bit more on Mystic Joker. Perhaps the battle for first place on track isn't quite over yet. Kaz, the car in front, he'll get out of the way. Coming out of the final turn, there we go. And there's Ethan getting DRS. That will help him out. He'll dump his overtake a little bit Close in a bit more on the McLaren as Kaz gets out of the way of KD and Honda as well. That was the reason for the yellow flags as Honda gets another 3-second time penalty. That's now 6 seconds. It's going to be difficult for Honda to keep third place if he does find a way by. And now Joker's putting the hammer down, setting some fast sectors here. He's pulled out a 3.2 second margin over Ethan. It's increasing rapidly. So the battle for the win that might have materialized is now completely over, I think. Joker's going to walk away with it. Battle for third, though, not over. KD has the upper hand with track position and one less penalty. 3 seconds less. They're coming around turns 9 and 10 now. Honda, he'll have DRS. As Joker sets fastest lap with a 1 minute 4.809. Honda not close enough, but if he can get a run at a turn 1. Oh, and Ethan's dropped back. He's dropped back significantly to KD. There must be something wrong with Ethan's car. There has to be. Because he's losing so much time. He was miles in front of KD, and here he comes, KD, round the outside. Ethan fights it though, make contact, more contact, round turn 5, KD, he slots back in behind. There is Honda, ready and waiting. So what was a battle for third is now a battle for second place. Ethan has lost a tremendous amount of speed out of nowhere. PJB King electing to retire from the session, the reserve driver. Had a fun race and he's just had enough. Here we go, the final lap for this trio of cars that are still fighting for second. There's one key overtaking spot that's located at turn 3, another at turn 4. What does Kyle decide to do? He has the inside line for turn 2 and gets Ethan before the braking zone into 3. Though Ethan has a slight chance to try and counter-attack into 4, though Kyle has nailed the exit there. Pulled away from the racing point. It seems that he will hang on to second place unless Ethan can find some sort of opportunistic move in the second or final sector, but I don't think he'll be able to do that. Meanwhile, out in front, untroubled, Mystic Joker will round the final 2 turns on the racetrack. For the 36th and final time, Mystic Joker will take the victory here at the Red Bull Ring and sets fastest lap as well. KD will cross the line in second, but our full-time driver's winner is once again Ethan Lossing. And Andrew Honda finishes in 4th, and with the adjusted standings, this man, Buck in the Haas, will jump up to 2nd place, and then Garrett to Pippo, I do believe, will be finishing on the podium for the full-time drivers in 3rd. And it's going to be Brian Beale in 4th place. It looks like a very solid race indeed for the AlphaTauris. 4th and 5th with the adjusted standings. Very solid day indeed for the team. In 7th and 8th out of the entire list. And we'll just wait. We'll just belt across the line. He will finish in P9 overall, Josh. Driver of the day. Fairly obvious one there for Andrew Honda. Started from plumb last in 18th. Finishes 4th. Gained 14 positions. Pretty solid drive indeed. Pretty solid drive from that man right there in the blue suit. Mystic Joker, commanding performance in qualifying and also in the race as well. P2 goes to Kyle Dyer. A fine performance from him, and Ethan Lossing takes the final podium spot in the overall results. He comes home in 3rd place. But with the adjusted standings, it will be Ethan who takes another victory. Then it will be Buck in P2, Garrett to Pippo in 3rd, Brian Beale in 4th, Justin Laprade in 5th, Mary Buss in 6th, Byron Will in 7th place, so a solid day for Alfa Romeo as well. Then 8th place to Matthew Elliott. That will be our full-time drivers. Only 8 full-time drivers finishing the race. 4 of the reserve drivers finishing, with 3 of them in the top 4. There we go. I had a feeling it was going to be an interesting race here at Red Bull Ring. It always is around this fantastic racetrack. And it provided a bit of drama for us as well in regards to the weather, the strategies, and how that all played out as well. It's very fascinating to watch indeed. There we go. Doot. Well, we came off a pretty decent real-life Grand Prix, and then night after we get a pretty decent virtual one at Austria as well, so not a bad weekend for us.
Thank God, no issues with the stream this week.
Yes, I almost completely forgot about Paul Ricard.
It was one to forget, to be fair.
Quite true. But no, fairly solid race here, indeed. Lots of fun. So we'll have a few drivers joining us for podium interviews. We have Ethan joining, we have Buck joining, and hopefully we'll see Garrett. That's the last driver who I couldn't remember. Joining us as well. But we have 2 drivers here, so we might as well start. And also, I think that's Buck where I can hear myself talking.
It might be me. Let me see if I can fix my mic.
No, that's. I just want to make sure that your party audio is on always allow. Just want to double check that.
It is.
But we'll start off with our second place. Well done, Buck. P2 for you with the adjusted full-time drivers. Your first podium for the season. You must be pretty pleased with yourself in regards to the amended result. But how did your race go overall here at the Red Bull Ring?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even know I got podium. I thought I was in P5. I didn't even know who the
no. So
I didn't know who the reserves were. So
yeah. In the overall standings, Mystic Joker, KD 1997, and T&E Honda were reserve drivers. And how it works is that the reserve drivers are taken out of the official results, and the full-time drivers get bumped up to wherever they sort of finish in the full-time drivers. And as a result, you finish second behind Ethan.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I already knew about the reserve thing. I just didn't know who was reserves, but I mean, quali was decent. I mean, the rain didn't really bother me too much. We kind of fought back and moved up back into P5 after I got taken down to P9. Kind of spun on that first lap on that out lap of mine, but once I got the second lap in, I was good to go. I was kind of frustrated with myself during the race. The first 10 so laps, the car wasn't working for me on the softs. I could go a lot faster than what I was doing, but the car would not let me. The tires wouldn't let me. I kept sliding and drifting basically around the corners that I wanted to go faster in, and it just kind of wasn't working. Then the rain came. I made up a spot on the Ferrari. Finally, I was going to try to jump the leaders on the going back to the softs, but I miscalculated that. I should have pitted before everybody else, and I didn't. I decided to stay out. But I ended up with 12 seconds in penalties. That's the only reason, because the car wasn't working for me. But usually I'm a pretty penalty-free driver on this track mostly. But yeah, so I mean, I'm happy. I'm glad to take P2 for Haas. Unfortunately, Deary wasn't able to make it tonight, but that helps us in the long run.
But how was it adjusting to from dry conditions to the wet conditions and then back to dry? That must have been a nightmare.
Not really, not for me, because
Really?
I mean, I drive with no assist, so the
Yeah.
only assist I use is the corners only on the racing line, but everything
Mhm.
else is off for me. But ever since I got my new wheel, my Fanatec wheel, I started practicing in the rain, and it's basically the same thing as driving. It's basically the same thing. You just have to be cautious with the throttle,
Yeah.
especially into like turn two in Australia and in Austria. You have to be very easy with the throttle in the rain, and then once you get the grip, it kind of just starts to roll in your favor. So it's almost the same thing, but it wasn't really a big issue for me. It might be issues for other drivers, but not for me at least.
Well, no, that's very positive to hear that you're able to adapt to the conditions very quickly. Because sometimes for drivers it does take a little while to adapt to certain conditions, particularly when the rain starts coming in, and you have to
Well,
switch off your sort of dry running and braking
yeah.
points and turning points and acceleration points, and then switch
Well, yeah.
to intermediates.
Usually I have to turn on my assist for the rain. I used to have to, but
Yeah.
now that I have the confidence of driving in the rain with no assist, it's not really a big change for me to switch from dry
Uh-huh.
to rain and back to dry. So,
Okay.
um, yeah.
That's very good to hear that you have the confidence to be able to change as well. Um, Not a lot of people
Confidence
do
is
have
key.
that. But, Michael, do you have anything to ask our podium finisher?
Uh, no, nothing to ask. I'll just give you a big congratulations. Obviously, first podium's a big deal, so yeah, keep it up, and hopefully, for you, we'll see you more on this podium.
I'm sure you will. I'm gonna do my best.
All
But no,
right, I like the confidence.
but congratulations, Buck, on a fine second place finish and fifth place overall. That's a pretty solid result as well for you. So congratulations for your drive here at Austria.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Now we'll talk to our race winner, Ethan Lossing. Congratulations on another victory in this championship season. You had a fair amount of competition you had to deal with, though, over the course of the race, particularly from Kyle and from Andrew. Just take us through your Austrian Grand Prix experience.
At qualifying, got on pole with my last lap, which is I'm pretty surprised that I ended up getting on pole there. And then in the race, Joker, his pace was crazy. Couldn't compete with that. So it was with KD most of the race. We were pretty even paced. Yeah, it was kind of difficult going back and forth to the wet and to the dry. We went back to the dry at the end. I had like no confidence for the first like couple laps, so I had like no pace. So KD ended up passing me, which is kind of frustrating. But yeah, it was a good race overall, though.
But nothing too much that you had to worry about. I asked Buck about how he adapted to conditions. How did you fare adapting from the dry to the wet, then back to dry again at the end of the race?
I don't know. I feel like for me, it takes a couple laps sometimes to get used to the changing conditions. Like when I would get onto wet, it would take maybe a couple laps before I would feel like I'd be at my top wet
Yeah.
pace, and then kind of the same going back to dries.
Michael, anything to ask? I can't really think of anything.
Yeah, I mean, the last few weeks you've been winning based off of our classifications, but you've had to fight the reserves really hard. And I've noticed that you're somebody who races them as if they were full-time drivers, and you don't really worry about the fact that they're reserves. You just want to go out and beat them. So just describe that balance of battling these guys, knowing that you're not really fighting them anyway, but still wanting to give them a good fight and have a good time out there.
Well, I mean, usually the reserves that I'm racing around, I know that they're clean and they're gonna give me plenty of space, and we're not gonna end up hitting each other, so it's not really a worry usually.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, we tend to notice that a lot of the reserve drivers are quite skilled and quite competent. So, And that proved to be the case tonight with KD and Honda as well. I didn't see any major incidents between any of you three that race, demonstrating that the reserve drivers can race and not be just massive roadblocks. So that's nice to see. But congratulations again, Ethan, on another victory in this championship season. It looks like you're going to remain somewhat untouchable, I would think, coming towards season's end. But we'll wait and see how the rest of the season pans out for you. But for now, congratulations on another victory here at Austria. But I think that might end it for us, Michael. Another week, another Grand Prix. This time a pretty solid one, I must say.
A solid one indeed.
Yeah, lots of racing, some drama. We had mixed conditions as well. That was a lot of fun to watch as well. How all the strategy panned out, all the confusion midway through the race with people going on to weird strategies. And then the realization that the rain was coming. So that was lots of fun indeed. Next week, what's next week? Austria, Silverstone?
Ooh, Silverstone.
UK, United Kingdom, the land of Great Britain. Land of Sir Lewis Hamilton. Remember, it's Sir Lewis now. Did you
Sir
know that?
Lewis.
Did you know that, Michael? It's Sir Lewis.
I do know that.
Yeah, it's
It is
Sir
Sir
Lewis.
Lewis.
I had no idea it was Sir Lewis. Until Sky Sports made it abundantly clear that it's Sir Lewis Hamilton. It's not like it's been in the tabloids or anything about him being knighted or anything like that. And Crofty made damn sure that it's Sir Lewis Hamilton when he took the checkered flag at Bahrain.
Oh yeah, he had to get it in there.
We better call it the Sir Lewis Hamilton Straight now, not just the Hamilton Straight. Otherwise it won't be abundantly clear enough that it's Sir Lewis Hamilton, not Lewis Hamilton. I hope everyone watching this makes sure they know it's Sir. Knighthood, Sir. SIR, right at the front. Jokes aside, Silverstone is a pretty solid racetrack. It's a legendary racetrack too, the home of Formula One racing. First ever Formula One Grand Prix was there in 1950. The only race that Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II has ever attended in Formula One history. That's the only one. Was the very first one. The circuit has undergone many, many changes over its lifetime. This current layout is a pretty solid one. It has overtaking opportunities at several parts of the racetrack, most notably at Brooklands at the end of the Wellington Straight and at Stowe at the end of the Hangar Straight. And you have a whole heap of technical sections in between. Not only that, you have to remember it's the UK. So there's a fair chance for wet weather as well, which always tosses things up, as we saw tonight here at Austria. But until next week, I've been Lane Everingham, my co-commentator, as always, Michael Garoon Jr., and we'll see you next week for the British Grand Prix at Silverstone Grand Prix Circuit. Until then, goodbye.